So good evening to another live episode of Photography After Hours. I'm Scott Hartwick, coming to you live from Parkwood Studios in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to talk a little bit about an event that we did here this past Friday night. And here to help me through this is our guest tonight, Scotty Myers. Hey, Scotty, how's it going?
Good, how you doing, man?
All right. So you were a big part of this thing. You helped organize it. You helped set it up. I was there setting it up. There was a ton of us helping this up. It was a big day. We started early in the afternoon.
Ended early in the morning.
I think I was here for 12 hours that day.
Oh yeah.
And,
good times.
But it was a good time. So you and Nick Pappagallo were the first two that started this. So tell me how we got this thing rolling in the first place. Who did you contact to make it happen?
We were sitting around the studio one day. Actually, we were talking about it, and then I get this message from Nick saying, "Hey, let's do a big shoot for October."
It's okay.
And so we talked about possibly getting some cosplayers in, and he goes, "Well, you know a lot of cosplayers," and I had to say, "Actually, I don't, but I know the person that does."
So why would he say that?
Well, I was a volunteer photographer it was Phoenix Comic Con then. Now I think it's Phoenix Fan, whatever the name of it is now. I do apologize for not remembering, but
Comic Fest or something.
Comic Fest, yeah. Fan Fusion. Maybe.
There you go, something.
And so I worked a lot with cosplayers. We did a lot of shooting. I did a lot of stuff with the photo booth.
Because you covered the event as well, right?
Exactly. I was there for 4 days, 12, 15 hours a day, whatever we needed.
Right.
But I reached out to Tony Julius, who works a lot with cosplayers. He does a lot of cosplay photography. Guys does amazing work. Because I knew that he would know the cosplayers.
Right.
So Nick, Tony, and I sat down and we kind of talked out the evening. And, we wanted to have more than just a regular, okay, you bring in one cosplayer kind of event. We wanted to give people a lot of diversity. We wanted to give them a lot to shoot. We wanted to make a night that everybody could remember.
Yeah, so typically these public shoot events we would call them a happy hour. So we bring a model in, set the lights up, we do a couple of different looks, and we rotate people through in groups, and everyone gets to shoot. We set the lights up for them, and it's a learning experience and a lot of fun, and just a mixer, if you will. Probably call it happy hour. So we wanted to do something, ratchet it up a little bit.
And because of our normal shoots, we also offer just the networking portion where, we have some constant set up and people can network and stuff. So it brings a lot of people in. But we wanted this to have a little bit more focus than that. So the idea was to bring in a larger number, and we decided on 6 cosplayers. And we kind of talked about how are we going to handle 6 cosplayers? Do we do 2 rounds, 3 each? And we'd kind of settled on that a little bit, but then we got to thinking, and Nick brought up this great point, is if we do 2 rounds of 3 each, people are going to be sitting around.
Yeah.
And so the decision was made, we're going to do 1 round. Everybody shoots all 6.
6 stations.
6 stations, which when you think about it, setting up lights and all that for 6 stations, that's a little bit of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, but this is a huge facility. There's plenty of space for everyone. We had roughly 30 shooters, I think it was.
Yeah, we decided to cap it out at around 30 because that made the numbers work well.
Yeah.
If we maxed out at 30, that was 5 people per group.
Yep.
And everybody would roughly be shooting for a couple of hours.
Couple of hours, yeah.
And it was pretty much, other than when you rotated station to station, it was pretty much nonstop shooting.
Yeah.
On our normal events, you shoot and then you're waiting for the second set.
Yep.
Here it was just boom, 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 and it was very well received.
Yeah, everyone seemed to have a really good time. I got a lot of good response out of it. So let's talk a little bit about the cosplayers and how we ended up with the people we got.
I'm going to be honest with you. We let Tony pick them.
Yeah.
Tony works enough, and we had real good quality cosplayers. We had Iron Man, Spider-Man, Deadpool, 2 cosplayers that were doing Skyrim characters.
Right.
Purgatory, which was a demon goddess, and we had Billy Bones. And we kind of customized the sets a little bit for each one. So the 2 horror we had set up with a lot of harsh lighting. Billy Bones, we had the cross up and the fog and the skull. Skyrim, we put him behind some old rusty iron gates like they're outside of the fortress or something. Iron Man was up against the steel with some blue lights. We had Spider-Man. Deadpool had his car in, which he's got
cool.
done up.
So our Studio 4 at Parkwood Studios is a cyclorama, a big cyclorama, 20 by 30 feet. And so we backed his car in, set it all up, and there he was.
Yep.
We put fog machine on that too.
Yes, we did. It was fog machine and 4 constant lights, and then he had all the lights on his car running. So he
The
had all this
flashers, yeah.
flashing red and yellow and pink and white and everything, and it made it for real nice.
We talked a little bit about the level of these cosplayers. These people knew their characters so well. They got into their character, they played it, they knew all the poses, and they just worked constantly all evening long. It was great.
Yes.
Definitely professionals, every one of them.
Right. It was a good night. I overheard a couple people saying, you know, they're looking at the back of their camera and they're going, this looks just like a comic book. That to me was just like a great compliment right there.
Absolutely.
Between the cosplayer and having everything set up right, having a set that kind of matched in with what the cosplayer was looking like or doing, it made it a huge success.
Yeah, because a lot of times these people come in, they don't really know how to pose a model. That's what the happy hours are for, kind of learn that stuff. This is totally different. And so you even talked with them ahead of time, like, these people really know, so let them do their thing and you'll get great shots.
One of the things that I found at Comic-Cons is you get somebody who comes in and they have an idea in their mind of what they want to see. But that's not necessarily what that character does.
Right.
And so when you're shooting cosplayers have a certain personality.
Yep. A persona.
A persona. And they, when they are dressed up, they are in that persona. And one mistake that some photographers make is they try to take them outside of that persona. And when you watch the cosplayer, you can see the change in energy when you pull them into a pose that's out of character. And so that was what we prepped them for that night was, you know, if you try to pose them out of character, sometimes you can just see that energy go and your shot can actually suffer a little bit. It says nothing about their ability to cosplay, but you're asking them to do something that their character wouldn't do. Now, we did have Deadpool that night.
Yeah.
And, you know, Deadpool in the movies knows no limits, right? There is no out of bounds. But obviously, in this type of event, we needed to have boundaries. So we did tell people up front, yes, it's Deadpool. However, you know,
PG Deadpool.
We need to keep everything to a PG level, nothing inappropriate and things. Because
and he wouldn't do those anyway.
No, he wouldn't. And I totally respect him for that. The costume and everything was amazing. But, you know, Deadpool and Iron Man were both part of Comic Care.
Yes.
And, you know, Comic Care is an organization. They go to the kids' hospitals and they work with the kids. And having been at a children's hospital and watched the cosplayers come through and seeing the way those kids' faces light up, having Comic Care as a part of this event, it just felt right. I think it was a great thing that we had them here.
Yep. Yeah, it was really cool. So go back to the posing for a second. Sure. So the station that I was moderating was the Billy Bones, and that was done by Amber Sky's Cosplay. Check her out on her Instagram. She's great. But each group that came in, she herself went through and said, my character is this. I can do these kind of poses. I can go on the ground and I can do these kinds of things. I can do this and this and this. I have, because the stitches across the mouth, I gave her a prop dagger so she would make like she was cutting through them, and everyone had a ball with that. And she used this. This was one of her props. She used this. People had her do all kinds of stuff with this little guy. It was great. And so she was into it, having a blast. And we got the opportunities as the setup people to shoot each one of the cosplayers after everyone had left, and they still had some energy left for us.
They did.
I was impressed. They were great.
Yes.
Can't say enough about them. You know, it's funny because now you worked at Comic-Con for many years. I had my kids drag me one year to Comic-Con. I'm like, I don't do this. And so I get there and saw what was going on. These cosplayers, they're some of the most genuine people you will ever meet.
Yes. That was one of the things that drew me to the event here in Phoenix so much was, you know, if you get into an airport setting, you know, it's busy, it's bustling, you bump into somebody, what happens? You get this gruff response and whatever. But at con, if you accidentally bump into somebody, all of a sudden you both turn and, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
There was a certain politeness about it. And there was this whole family feeling about the event. And that's what kept drawing me to it.
Yep.
And the cosplayers, I mean, you know, some of these folks, they'll spend years making their costume.
And a lot of money.
And they go a lot of money, a lot of time. I used to work with a guy who was actually a cosplay armorer, where he literally would make different pieces of armor for different cosplayers. And he came up with some very extravagant stuff himself, but it was, I mean, that was like a second job. I mean, it's a lot of work. One person that I had heard of, her master's thesis, because she was getting her master's in costume design,
Okay.
was a steampunk costume.
Oh, okay.
And when you saw this and what she did to it over the course of a year, it was incredible.
Yeah, it is
I mean,
amazing.
it's a huge amount of dedication.
That's
these
exactly
folks,
the right word, dedication.
Yeah, I mean, it showed in their costumes and their posing.
Yep.
Everybody, I mean, like with Iron Man, every piece was in place. And he knew all of the right poses and just, everybody was.
And they're all willing to talk with the participants and everyone that was there. It was really
Exactly.
It was really good. They're very cordial as well.
And they're all like, if a kid comes up, whether they're a good guy or a bad guy, you always see them. They're willing to stop, get a picture with the kid.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah. This guy here.
Now, one thing that's interesting, and not everybody may realize this, but a lot of cosplayers have a handler.
Yes.
If you think about it, you've got all this stuff on you. Sometimes you have bad visibility. You have limited mobility or range of motion.
Yeah.
You may have stuff to carry. You need somebody to watch to see is something on the costume starting to come loose,
Sure.
or things like that. We actually had 4 handlers there that night.
Yep. Taking
just
care of
kind
them.
of keeping an eye on people and taking care of them and making sure if anything went wrong or they needed anything.
Get it fixed up. Yeah.
Exactly.
It was really fun. So these are some of the images I took. It was funny because the last time I had used my camera was on a film photo walk in downtown Phoenix. And I had the monitor on my camera set to give preview in black and white, even though I shoot raw, but the preview JPEG was black and white. And I took the first few frames and I had asked the cosplayer, I said, has anyone showed you any pictures tonight? Because it was busy, we were rotating. She goes, no, I haven't seen any pictures. I said, take a look at this. And saw the pictures, and it was Freddie Nova, who was the demon goddess from Purgatory, and saw the way that it looked in black and white. She went, wow. And that was the picture I showed her.
Nice.
So I said, okay. So I stayed with that all night and showed each one of them what they don't want to ever seen themselves in a costume shot in black and white before. So when I did my post-production, I kept it just because. So yeah, it was kind of fun to do. And we did some harsh light, which was really cool. And it's almost noir-like. Yeah, so what did you do did you do some interesting looks when did you change any of the lighting when it was your turn?
I really didn't change the lighting, but I did some a little bit more on the close-up, like with Tony Stark, just like how you went in close on the head and shoulders.
Yeah.
I was standing up on my tippy toes with barely looking through the bottom of the camera because he was a lot taller than I was.
Yep.
Same kind of style of shot. Some depth of field shots where I go wide angle, but I have them reaching out towards the camera. The lighting was such that I didn't want to make too many changes because we were already going real dramatic on the lighting.
Yeah.
And I was worried that, if I went a little too extra, I might tear something up. But some of the people since then have been doing composite work. Like this one was done by David Bird.
David Bird, yeah. So this movie poster look.
Yes.
Wow.
Some of the composites coming out, David, Jason Hahn, they have been producing incredible images from that night.
Yep.
It has been really awesome seeing the stuff that's been hitting Facebook the last day or two of all these different pictures.
And that's when we put stuff like this together, this is what we hope for.
Exactly.
Everyone gets these amazing results and we all get to see them.
Yes. And it was kind of cool too because it was kind of a decision at the very end. You know what? Let's just bring all the cosplayers into one room and then everybody got to do a group shot of them.
Oh, like a red carpet shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was very fun. And
there's one of Tony Stark. I mean, that was a shot that was taken that night and then edited since. So, I mean, and that one's done by, looks like Keith Hesh. Just gorgeous work that's coming out. A little bit of extra work in the post processing, but just absolutely gorgeous.
And this just goes back to these guys really know their character. Look at that pose.
Yes.
That is very classic Iron Man.
Yes. It was almost as much fun watching the reactions of the photographers working with the cosplayers as it was actually shooting that night.
Oh, yeah.
And, that's what really makes an event.
Yep.
And there was a lot of just genuine people, talking, oh, how did your shot look? Oh, I love how you did that. And, and it was great.
A lot of interaction between the shooters. Yeah.
Yes. The thing about Friday night was too, is we didn't make it easy on everybody. A lot of times for these happy hour shoots that we do, we make it very easy on the settings. And Friday night, they had to change their camera settings every single set.
Every place they went.
We went from strobe to constant lights, back to strobe to constant lights, back to strobe to constant lights.
Yeah,
white balance was different.
White balance, which is the tricky one.
Yeah, exactly. It was different on every one with the constant lights.
Yep.
So we had all the settings up there, and the the settings for Iron Man, I had accidentally got mixed up, and I gave the settings for Deadpool, and it got written on Iron Man's because I got mixed my studio and my station backwards.
Okay.
So I kind of joked because people would come up and without thinking would start putting those settings in. Where we're shooting with studio strobes, but it was ISO 1200, white balance 3400, and I'd always see, did anybody get this weird look on their face like, is this right? And so I would joke, this was your photographer's test station.
If you passed.
If you weren't giving me a weird look, like, are those really the settings? And
so
it was kind of good. And some people were like, are these right? No, they're not right. Here's your actual settings.
Yeah. All right, so we'll wrap it up. So like I said, one more time, great event. Hopefully we do it again next year. We did something similar. We did a regular happy hour last year, and we had Crash and Aubrey came in and did a steampunk shoot.
Yes.
That was just about 1 year ago to the day.
Steampunk and pirates.
And pirates, yeah. That was very cool.
Yes.
All right, so thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you on the next After Hours. Good night.